Tonight in our Missing in Arizona report, we spotlight a case out of northeastern Arizona, Sweetwater to be exact. Loved ones of a missing Navajo woman continue to search for answers more than 5 months later.
62-year-old Mae Begay was last seen at her home, and now investigators believe that she was a victim of a homicide. Fox 10's Justin Lum investigates.
For Seraphine Warren, she could rely on her aunt since she can remember. She's never forgotten Mae Begay. The 62-year-old always kept to herself, especially when COVID-19 ravaged the Navajo Nation. Mae stayed safe in her Sweetwater home, doing what she loved.
She's reserved, she's cautious. She's a master rug weaver.
Creating and designing her hand-woven rugs, illustrating the farmlands of her people, cow and sheep grazing with Monument Valley in the background. The phrase, "bless our home," weaved into most of the tapestries, words of protection. But Mae was not protected during the early hours of June 15th, disappearing overnight. Seraphine lives in Utah and says she received calls from family members immediately.
She was cautious, she knew her surroundings, and at the time she went missing, they said was really out of character for her because it was 2:30 in the morning.
Out of character. The woman who rarely left home now vanished. Navajo police announced the disappearance and asked the public to look out for Mae's silver 2005 Ford F-150. Days into the investigation, police provided an update on social media.
We have made a transition from a missing persons investigation into a foul play investigation.
Mae's disappearance now classified as a homicide. At the same time, a person of interest identified just days into the search. Preston Toth would be arrested on unrelated charges and held for questioning in connection to Mae's case. Since then, he's been released and no other arrests have been made. Seraphine is left with unanswered questions.
We weren't getting any answers from law enforcement. They left us for a whole month and we were walking in circles. We were just searching areas that we assumed that she might be.
Despite Navajo PD and the FBI search efforts, Seraphine has consistently made the trip from Utah to Sweetwater to organize her own search for her aunt. She even met with Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez during her 150-mile walk to shine a light on the nationwide issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Her memory of Mae's love keeps her going.
And we're doing everything we can to find my aunt.
Knowing that that's what she felt towards us, that motivates me to find her, to make sure she comes home.
Why would somebody do this to a family?
Fox 10 asked Navajo police to discuss the case, but a spokesperson has not responded on an official interview. As for a wide scope, the National Crime Information Center reports nearly 5,300 records were filed for missing Indigenous females in 2020, a large majority children or teenagers. But advocates for missing or murdered Indigenous women believe cases are vastly underreported due to jurisdictional complexities between federal, state, and tribal law enforcement agencies. Meantime, Seraphine continues to use her voice for her aunt, Mae Begay.
And I know that she wants people that did this to her to be found and to be held accountable for what they did.
Justin Lum, Fox 10.
In April 2021, the Secretary of the U.S. Department of the Interior announced the launch of the Missing and Murdered Unit, known as MMU, within the Bureau of Indian Affairs Office of Justice Services. The goal is to use federal government resources to investigate these specific cases. Anyone with tips on Mae's case should call the Navajo Police Department Shiprock District. Head to fox10phoenix.com for more information.